I'm Amy Goodman, host of Democracy Now! We're here with Michael Ratner, President Emeritus of the Center for Constitutional Rights. Edward Snowden has just left Hong Kong, flying to Russia, where we now understand he is. Michael Ratner, what is the latest?
The latest is he has arrived in Russia. It is not public yet where he is going on to, but apparently he left Hong Kong with no difficulty. The Hong Kong government said that the warrant for his arrest issued by the United States was not valid, that he was free to leave. He then got on the plane, apparently, to Moscow. He is not a fugitive. At this point, there's no warrant that we know about outstanding for his arrest. Any charges from the United States are apparently sealed. Some of them apparently were leaked in the last day or so, but we don't have any official news that there's charges against him from the United States. So he is not a fugitive. He's seeking political asylum in another country. My view, as a representative of Julian Assange, who has gotten political asylum, is that Edward Snowden is entitled to political asylum under the Refugee Convention. People who are persecuted for their political opinions are entitled to political asylum. In this case, Julian Assange was given political asylum because whistleblowers about corruption and criminality of governments are often recognized as people entitled to political asylum. The U.S. itself recognizes that in having given asylum to some people from China and other countries who are whistleblowers. So I think he's entitled to it. Extradition, to the extent the U.S. tries to extradite him from a country where he's been given political asylum or has a political asylum application pending, will not be valid. Political asylum overrides any extradition for the particular reason that the crime he has given, alleged crime he's given political asylum for, is the same crime that they try to extradite him for. So the points really now that are crucial are he has left Hong Kong freely and safely. He is not a fugitive. He will apply in another country for political asylum. And if you think about it, this is obviously a major event. Here's a man who's taken on the United States and its massive surveillance of all of us in the world, including those in the UK, everywhere, including those apparently even in Hong Kong, the people of Hong Kong who are involved in their text messages. And he has revealed that and started an important debate. He's a hero. He's a whistleblower. He's someone who I believe will be entitled to and will get political asylum. It's certainly my hope.
The New York Times quoted an unnamed source saying he could possibly be going through Russia to Cuba. Do you have any word about this? Also the fact that he brought 4 laptops with him on the plane and was accompanied by a woman named Harrison from WikiLeaks.
Right. WikiLeaks has now disclosed that a woman named Sarah Harrison, who has done various tasks in the past, particularly on the WikiLeaks legal team and otherwise, she introduced the Syria emails at the Frontline Club in London within the last year. She is accompanying him on the plane. WikiLeaks was asked for advice, apparently, according to their tweet, about how Snowden should do this. Apparently such advice was given, and now there are people from at least one person we know from WikiLeaks accompanying him.
Does this threaten Julian Assange inside the Ecuadorian embassy in Britain? Will British authorities move on him?
Well, what's most impressive to me is that WikiLeaks was able to give this advice, that there's obviously a network of people around this world, countries and otherwise, who care about the fact that there's massive crimes that have been committed by the United States and other countries, as well as massive surveillance against all of us, and willing to help out. The question is, will the British now, because some of the material that was disclosed was about the British being involved in massive spying themselves, will the British now try and again make a push to get Julian Assange out of that embassy and into their hands or into the hands of the United States? I don't know it. I would hope the solidarity that there was before for Julian Assange and for the Embassy of Ecuador in London, that solidarity, particularly out of Latin America, which treated the UK as if it were some colonial power trying to again suppress the aspirations of Latin America, that solidarity will remain, and British will not be able to do something that would be utterly illegal, which is to try and get Julian Assange out of that Ecuadorian embassy.
And the New York Times quoting an unnamed source saying that Snowden is headed to Cuba?
I don't know what country he is headed to. I do know that if you're thinking about countries he had the possibility to go to, that both can stand up against the United States and that would be safe if the U.S. tried to render him in some way by an illegal team, there's a short list. There's obviously Russia, which could stand up, but that's obviously in some way why he at least used that as a transit point, if that's what it is. And then the other countries are Venezuela, Ecuador, Cuba, a handful of countries that have the ability to stand up, perhaps Iceland. So it's going to be, I'm guessing, probably one of those countries, but I don't know.
Thanks very much. Michael Ratner, President Emeritus of the Center for Constitutional Rights. I'm Amy Goodman of Democracy Now!